Hi guys, it's Roy from Bellados 3D here with another Blender video tutorial. Apologise about the voice at the moment. I've got a bit of a chesty cold. Hopefully it won't be too distracting for you. And in today's video I will be creating these lovely looking low poly stylized cutlasses. Okay, let's get started. As you can see, I start with the default scene. I have the default cube in there. I'm going to delete that because we don't need it. So, hasta la vista, cubey. I've also got 3 lights in here. This is a 3-point light system that I've just put in here so that I can see how it looks rendered when I create the model. On the left hand side you'll see a texture palette. This is an image texture that is attached to a material called palette, which I will be applying to my model. And in the bottom left right hand corner you have my screencast keys, so you can see whatever buttons I press and whatever I use the mouse for, etc., will show up in that corner. So let's get started. First things first, I'm going into front orthographic mode with the one on the numpad. I'm going to use a reference image, which is basically an image of the item that I'm modeling, just to get the right shape. So I'm going to load that reference image there, and I'm just going to move it back a bit so that it's not in the way. Okay, from front orthographic, let's position this a little bit better. So let's G, and we'll put it so that the bottom of the hilt is in line with the red line there, the x-axis. And let's move that a little bit this way. There we go, and that should be just about right there. Right, so the first thing we're going to need for this, as you can see, is probably a cylinder. So let's press Shift A, Mesh, and Cylinder. Now obviously that's way too high poly there. I'm going to break that down to about 12, and I'm going to turn off the cap fill on that so there's nothing filling the caps on the top. And let's go into edit mode, and I'm going to do this in X-ray mode by pressing Alt Z so I can see through it, and I'm going to press G, Z to move it on the Z axis, 1 to bring it up to the line there. Right, so now if I select this top edge here and press GZ, I can bring it down so that it's in line with where I need it. About there should do it. And now if I press S and Shift Z and scale that down so that I can bring it into about the right size, S and Shift Z, so we bring it into about there, should do it. I'm going to come back into edit mode and turn off X-ray for a moment because I'm going to shade that smooth by pressing right click and selecting shade smooth. And then I'm going over to the object data tab, and I'm going to turn on auto smooth and just bump that up to about 60, and this will give us a nice smooth faces with sharp edges. Okay, let's go back into edit mode, turn on X-ray, and let's define this a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to do it exactly the shape of this, it's a rough image. So I'm going to press Ctrl R, and I'm going to bring down that edge loop to there, and then press Ctrl R again, bring that edge loop up to there, and press Ctrl R again. Lots of edge loops all the way down to there, and another edge loop down to there. Okay, now I'm going to put another edge loop in the middle like so. Right, so alt selecting this edge loop here, if I press S now, I've got it, for some reason I've got it on 3D cursor. This is your transform pivot point. It allows you to choose where you scale and move around on the screen. I'm going to put it to medium point, and I'm then going to press S, and I'm going to scale that into about the right shape there. And then I'm going to select this edge here and this edge here, and I think I actually need, I'm going to press select that edge, and I'm going to Control B, Control B, just a tiny bit out like so. Right, so if I alt select this edge and Shift alt select this edge, I can then press S and Shift Z to scale it only on the X and the Y, and bring that in like so. and then switch over to face mode, I can then press Alt and select on this edge here. It will select the whole face ring all the way around, and again S and Shift Z to bring it in line. Okay, and there we go. We have the basic shape of the bottom of the hilt. I'm now going to go back into edge mode with 2 on the keyboard, alt click this edge loop here and press Control B, and I'm going to scroll up once, and I'm just going to bring that up just about that far. So now if we go back into object mode, as you can see, we've got the shape of the hilt. I'm going to press Alt and click on that edge there. I'm just going to fill it. We don't need to worry about n-gons with little pieces like this. It's only if it's on large surface areas that are slightly warped where it can be a problem. Okay, now the top. Let's go into X-ray mode again. And we're going to do the same up here. So back in front orthographic, I'm going to create an edge loop and I'm going to bring it all the way up here. And then I'm going to Control B and bring it to about there and scroll down. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going into face mode, select the loop. I'm going to press Alt E along normals, and then I can, holding the shift down to give me a bit more accuracy, I can then bring that right down like so. And there we have it. That's our hilt there. We just need to fill in this edge here. And we have our hilt already made. Later on we may bevel these edges to give them a little bit more rounding to make them look a bit nicer. But for right now, that's all we need. Okay, now we want to make the guard. And we're going to do this by creating a plane. So Shift A, Mesh Plane. And as you see, it appears down there in the bottom. Let's see how big it is. It's rather big, so what I want to do is I want to move that up, G and Z, so it's in the center there. I'm going to go to X-ray mode for this, just to make it easier. And in edit mode, using vertex selection, I'm going to select these 2 vertices. I'm going to bring them right in to about there. From there, I'm going to press Control and right click and click on this piece here, which then extrudes that edge to that point. And I'm going to do that all the way around to there and to there. And that gives us our curved shape on there. Don't worry about how wide it is, we will sort that out later. Back into orthographic mode. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I need to select these vertices here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move that on the x-axis to there. And then I'm going to Control and right click to the next point. And then the next point. And then the next point. And you get the idea. And one last one just there. So now what we have, if we go back into solid view, we have the rounded shape there. So now what we want to do is we need to obviously shape it on the y-axis. For this, I'm going to actually mirror this. So I'm going to press Control R and put a loop in here. And then in edge mode, I'm going to select this edge here, press X and V to delete the vertices. And I'm going to apply a modifier, mirror modifier, just there. And then change that from the X to the Y and turn on clipping. So we now have the general shape that we need. And in top view, what I'm going to do is turn on X-ray. I'm going to select this edge here. I'm going to bring that in to about there for now. And let's see. I think I need to add another edge loop just about here. So about here. There we go. Now this piece I need to curve in and round. So I'm going to select vertex select and press GG, and that slides it along the edge and bring that right into about there. and GG, bring that in so it comes out slightly, and then GG again, bring that in so it's just slightly in, like so, and then GG, and we just want to start tapering that out just slightly so that when it hits this point it's slightly curved just around there. Okay, so now if I select, it's a bit hard to see them, if I go into edge mode and I select, no, if I go into top view and I select these edges all along here, I can then bring them in so that, deselect that one, bring them in so that again the taper's about there, and deselect this one and we'll bring that one out, no sorry, in, deselect that one and we'll bring that one out, deselect that one, bring that out again, about there, and again we bring them out like so, and then we're going to start tapering back in. So we need, no, we need to taper that out. Now we're going to start tapering back in, so that comes in like so, deselect and bring them in, and just slowly work our way around the model until we have a nice curved shape there. We'll bring that into about there, and that should do the trick. And we may want to bring it out a little bit further. And in fact, yes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this piece here out quite a bit further, and then these pieces out not too far, and there we have our general shape. And what I want to do now is I want to actually bring this out so it bulges out a little bit, so it's curved outwards. So what I will do is I will select in edge mode of this piece here, and I will turn on proportional editing with the O key. And now if I bring this out, I can scroll up and down on the O key and bring that out. And maybe want to scale on the Z axis a little bit just to bulge it out towards the top, just a little bit like so, and gives it that curve like that. Right, and that's the guard almost complete. Finally, what I want to do with this is I want to add another modifier, a solidify modifier. And with the solidify modifier, I'm going to just change the depth of that so it's up a little bit, and I'm going to actually move that down a little bit just to bring it more in line. And there we have our depth to our model. I'm going to shade smooth that, and again in the object data tab click auto smooth and bump that up to about 60, and that gives us our nice smooth shape there. Right, now on to the blade. And for the blade I'm going to create another plane. So if I shift A and select mesh plane, and then in edit mode RX to rotate on the X axis 90 and enter. And I'm going to bring that up GZ to the top just about there, and scale on the X and bring it in. I'm going to turn proportional editing off just in case and put it into X-ray mode, and SX, scale X, bring that right into, it's about the right shape, about the right size there. So now what I want to do is I want to select the top edge here and bring it down in line just here. And it's probably best to do this in vertex mode, so I'm going to press 1 and choose this vertex and G and just move that so it's in line. Now what I'm going to do is I want to add an edge loop in here and bring it in line with this edge here. And I'm going to select those top edges and press E and bring them up to about there. And just move in. I'm going to adjust these vertex just slightly so they're lined up with the image. And again, select on the top, E, and bring them up to here. And then adjust each of the vertices until they're in the right spot. And rinse, repeat. E. And then with these last three selected, I'm going to press M at center, and then I'm going to move that into position just there. So now we have the shape of our blade. And if I now select in edge mode, select this whole edge there, and then deselect this piece here, what I can do is I can move that back to about there, just to give it a taper. And then again, alt select this edge here, and that selects the whole ring, so I don't want to do that, so I'm going to have to press to click the top one and press Control, and that will fill in all, select all the edges there. Oops. And then I can just bring that out so it's a little bit further out, just about there. And now I want to add a mirror to this, so I'm going to press the modifier, add modifier, and select mirror. Select X and Y, and that will mirror that on the Y axis. Now obviously we want this piece here to be a point, so I need to add clipping, and then in vertex mode select the top vertex, and we will move that back so it touches. And there we have that side of the blade. Now what we want to do is go into edge mode and select this back edge and press E, and then right click, and then just move it back on the Y axis like so. And there, as you see, we have our nice blade. So if we right click that, we can shade smooth, and then go to the object data panel and select auto smooth, and bump that up to about 60. So we now have our blade, and I think I'm going to make a little adjustment here in vertex mode. I'm just going to move that back a bit just to soften the edge there, the curve on the edge, and the same, and just do that all the way down like so, just a little bit, just a touch, and that should be just about right. And there we go. Now let's give it some colour. So the blade, I'm going to select all of it, press U and R, and then to reset the UVs, and then in the UV editing window, press A, S, and 0 to bring it into a 0 space. I'm going to find a nice shiny sort of silvery sort of colour there. Now obviously that's not showing on the model yet, so we need to add the material. So we go to the material tab, press the plus, and select palette. Now we need to go into rendered mode so we can see it. And as you can see, that's a nice shiny metal there. I think I might actually make that a little bit darker, a bit duller. So let's move that to the about there, I would say. And that's a nice shiny metal. Now for the guard, I think we want a nice, I don't know, we want a nice brassy sort of colour. So I'm going to select my material from the drop down there. I'm going to select everything, press U and R to reset it, AS and 0 to bring it into a 0 space. I'm going to bring it up to, I'd say about here. That gives it a nice sort of goldy brass sort of colour there. Okay, and now onto the handle. Let's have a look. We want this in two colours here. So I'm going into face mode. Press Alt and left click on that loop, and I'm going to press Control plus to increase the selection. And U and R to reset the UVs, AS and 0 to bring it into a 0 space. And I'm going to give it a sort of browny sort of colour. I think maybe this colour here. Oh, and I've forgotten to put the material on, so I'll just select that over here. And I think maybe a little bit darker. Should we give it a more reddy sort of brown? Yeah, let's give it that brown. Okay, so now if I press Control I, that will invert my selection, so it selects the other pieces. So I need to reset the UVs with U and R, AS and 0 to bring it into a 0 space. I'm going to bring that over to a similar sort of gold colour. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter, just to give it a little bit of contrast between the two colours. So I'm going to bring it down to about there. And there we have our first Cutlass. I'm just going to go through these, and I'm going to go to the modifier tab. I'm going to apply the modifiers with Control A. And we have to do these in order, first top to bottom. Otherwise, it causes issues. So we press Control A, and then we have it. And now I'm going to select all three items and press Control J to join them together. Okay, so now let's do the second blade. First things first, I'm going back into this item. I'm going to select the blade and then Control I to invert the selection, because I'm going to steal the geometry off of this. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate it. I'm going to press P to separate the select and choose selection to separate the selection. So now that the copy is a separate object, and I'm going to hide the original. And first things first, I'm going to alter the hilt for the second blade. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this in edge mode, select this edge here, and Control B and bring that out. And then I'm going to add an edge loop here and here. And then in face mode, if I select this edges along here and here, and press X, F to delete those faces, I can then do these edges here. I'm going to control that down to there, shift left click that one, and control shift left click that one, X and F, and that deletes these, and it gives it a different style of guard. I'm going to go into edge mode and shift select all of these edges along here. I'm going to use edge loop, bridge edge loop by pressing Control E and bridge edge loops, and that fills it in all the way along there. So again, repeat that. I can shift click all of these edges along here. And then Control E and bridge edge loops. And I've done something wrong there. What have I done wrong? Somehow I've done something wrong. I've selected this one instead. There we go. Control E, bridge edge loops. And you'll notice we got in here a face needs filling. So Alt select that and press F. And we should have the same down the bottom. Alt select and press F. So let's try again. Right, let's start on the other side. Left click and Control left click and shift left click and then shift control left click, shift control left click and Control E, bridge edge loops, and the same here, left click, shift left click, sorry, Control left click and then shift left click and then shift control left click and Control E and bridge edge loops. So we've now filled that in, so we need to fill the bottom. So Alt click that edge loop there and fill, and Alt click and fill that one there, and there we have our different handguard. I'm now going to change the colours. So I'm going to select everything, and if I press Shift and Space over the UV window, as you can see, it expands the window so that I can see everything. I'm going to change the colour of the leather on the handle, and I'm just going to bring that up to a darker grey. And if I press Shift Space again, you'll see that's a darker grey sort of colour. Back in there. And then I'm going to select all of these and scale them to the 0 space again, because I want to give that a dark silvery metal, probably about there. Okay, and now we're going to create the new blade. So what I want to do is I want to select this, I want to G, X and move that across so that it's in the right position, and I use exactly the same method as I did before with this, except there's a few extra edge loops in there. So I'm going to press Shift A, Mesh, Plane, and in edit mode RX90. From the front view, I'm going to bring that up so it's in line with the top. Go into X-ray mode, wireframe mode, S and X to bring it into the right width. And I'm going to add the edge loops afterwards. So I'm going into vertex select, I'm going to bring these down to here. And again to here. And we've done all this before, so at this point I'm going to actually fast forward this, playing high speed, so that you don't have to listen to me rambling on about G's and Z's and E's and all sorts. Okay, now we're back. So as you can see, I've done the general shape of the item, but we need to add 3 edge loops in here. So we press Control R, and you see the 3 edge loops there, and just scroll up just a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to press 2 and go into edge mode. I'm going to press G, and I'm going to move that edge just a little bit further that way, and just a little bit further that way with GG. And let's line these vertex up. I'll speed this up again. Right, so we now have the shape of the blade. And again, as with the other one, I'm going into face mode here. I'm going to select this face, and this face. And I'm going to press C, and I'm going to circle select. I'm going to select all of these faces along here, and middle mouse button to unselect. Right click to come out of that. I'm going to move that forward quite some distance, about there. And then I'm going to deselect these faces here. And move them back slightly, like so. And that gives that the sharp edge along there. I'm also going to press 2, and I'm going to alt select that edge. I'm going to press Control E and mark that as sharp so that it definitely stays sharp. And then I'm going to add a mirror modifier, and on the y-axis like so. And as you can see, that's actually come to a nice little point on there. But I think what we need to do is just adjust these vertices just a touch to make it a little bit thinner on the top, like so. Like so. And let's, what's happened there? Oops. There we go. And let's move that in. Oop. Move that one in there like so, just to give it a bit of shape to the top of the blade. And of course, as with the other one, we need to fill these gaps in now, so we just have to look through these and bring that out a little bit, just there, just to define that edge a little bit more. So what I need to do is, just come back a bit. In edge mode, Alt select this edge here and press Y on the Y-axis and then bring it out. And I've forgotten clipping, so I'm going to press the right mouse button to cancel that. Geometry is actually still there, but it's snapped back to the same position. Press clipping and then GY and close that off. And then again at the top here, press E, Y and bring it back, and there, and press left click to set it in position. And there we have our blade. So let's have a look. Right click that, and in object data, auto smooth, and turn that up to about 60. But as you can see, because I've marked this edge sharp, that will stay sharp and it will look nice and sharp when it's shaded. So let's go in, select all, UV reset, AS0, and we want to give this a silvery blade colour, about there I think, and turn the material on by selecting there. And there we have our sword, our second sword. Again, we'll go through and we'll apply the modifiers, and I think there's no more modifiers, and join them all together. Control J and GX. So let's have a look at what we've got. And there we have it, two styles of Cutlass. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something about modelling from this video. Apologies for my voice throughout the video. I've got a bit of a chest infection at the moment. If you liked it, please hit the like button and share with your friends. If you want to be notified about more videos coming out, then hit the subscribe button and tick that notification bell. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.